What's up, everybody? This is BT Helbrick with Reforged Logic. We're going to go over some more Atlas Worlds features. It's Friday. They've released some things, so we're going to just jump right into it and continue building our campaign and just exploring what they have to offer. So let's get going. Welcome back, everybody. Let's get started into Atlas Worlds, this huge new DM tool. Definitely saw this on Kickstarter, became part of it. A lot of promises for it. The initial startup, right, we're in beta right now, definitely had some features that were promised, but weren't currently available, but definitely had structure for it there. And then there were some things that are promised that aren't there, right? They're still in the making of it. So let's just get to it. But basically, you can create worlds, create parties, create entities, which are basically assets if you're in the gamer world, right? And you can work it so that all these things tie in and basically manage a campaign for you. I want to really test this and not just do it for the stereotypical D&D RPG style game campaign, but I really want to push this and do it for games like BattleTech campaigns, Warhammer campaigns, Blood Bowl campaigns. So very out of the norm games that we can probably use this tool, especially once they start adding more feature creeps to it and fixing bugs, that this will be able to really manage almost any style game that has some backstory or some elements and pieces that you really need to keep track of. Currently, it is Friday, 15th, so today is the day that they're supposed to actually update some of the features. So I'm going to jump in and compare to the first review, which was just kind of like a touch review on Atlas Worlds. There should be a lot more improvement, so I'm getting real excited because I really believe in this project, and I'm really hoping that it becomes everything it is promised to be, because I think this will become the standard for DMs and parties so that they can all have the management asset without any of the headaches and wandering within a campaign of any sorts. So I have been working a little bit. I wanted to add some assets, but I also didn't want to completely like do like everything from scratch and just show you. I wanted to actually jump in and see what we could do with this tool. So let's just hop into Worlds. I'm going to go into Hytera. That's the one that I've been managing. It's going to be, I'm going to start with a traditional style D&D campaign, right? Because I don't want to try and stretch its limits until we know it can do what it's designed to do initially. So let's see. We have all these things right here. I'm going to just go through. I've added a lot of entities. The thing that that I don't like about entities is locations. They just have a little bit more of a different role than like a character or an enemy or something like that. Same with quests. But other than that, items and characters and enemies and stuff all could be in here. Just the locations, I feel like they need a bit more. Same with quests. They need a little bit more optimization and functionality to relate with all these other elements. But let's keep going. So characters, again, I think this is fine. I don't think characters and entities need to be. I mean, entities is everything, but characters, we definitely hit some enemies. We got some head lore guys in there, so we'll keep going. Locations, I was cranking out locations, okay? And I'll show you what I did later on. We're going to be doing a lot of stuff in connections, so when we get there, I'll explain a lot more. Items, I just did a basic sword and shield, super basic icon, just wanted to see what it did. Same with quests, we just did a very generic kill the demon, right? Just wanted to see what it did. So far, all these things are absolutely the same throughout. So the only thing that really changes is the identifier, right? And so we'll save and quit. And so it does take a second. like the only thing that changes is this is a quest, but other than that, the user interface for like uploading pictures, adding things, it's all the same. So keep that in mind. It can kind of get, I don't want to say confusing, but it can kind of get, you can get a little lost sometimes because you're like, oh, what am I in? And unless you know what that picture means and unless you know the story, there's nothing saying this is a quest, you know? So just something maybe for future thought, but we're not going to touch anything on templates. I need to do a lot more digging in on templates, what they do, how to use them. Excuse me. But for what we're going to do, we're going to sit here inside of connections, because this is, I think, honestly, the bread and butter of this Atlas Worlds. This is what's going to help visualize everything for somebody who's making a campaign. The things that kind of are rough is the icons, right? Depending on what you have here, and I know I have huge cities, right? And these aren't too bad, right? Obviously, you could see and tell what those are. But like for really big stuff like this, it would be nice for locations to have a really nice display on this, so you can really see what's going on in there, what you're clicking. But let's just take a look. So important to note, first thing is no matter what you do here, no matter how you organize it, right? And I'm just putting stuff all over. These two are related, that's related. Let's put this way out here. I don't like that. All right, cool. So I'm going to hit connections again. Or I'm sorry, we're going to bounce back and forth. Oh, of course it's gonna do it. Oh, here we go. That's right. That's what I want to do. So if for whatever reason you log out and you need to log back in or reload the page or something like that, it's gonna revert back to its own organization. Boom, and there it is. Oh, let me get up there. I'm gonna maximize this because now that you know that there's different stuff over here, we're gonna go and just kind of play in here. But it's going to revert back to what it thinks is correct. Good news. So bad news is whatever you do, it's gonna rework it back to whatever you want. The good news is that you can change this. So let's change the organization. I don't like this one. So let's go to grid. So here's grid. It's going to pop all of your elements into a grid, and then rework all. So city of Calcus is going to be the main city, right? And I'll show you what we're doing. But as far as organization, all of these little relationships will get passed over via this grid style technique, right? So this can be kind of messy, but you can keep changing it. You got breadth first, you've got circle, circle is actually kind of nice. I do like circle. The thing that I can see this getting super out of hand is with more and more and more and more, and then if you have tons of complex ones like this, city of Calcus, like it's the main city, everything falls under it, and I can totally see this getting out of hand with a lot of connections, but really working with a lot of assets with few connections. So just things to think about. Concentric, this is like a very typical style that you would think of, right? Oh, the center, and then all the things that relate to that. But then it gets to the point where it's like, well, what about the things that relate to that, right? All these items. So now it's like, great. So we got to pull that guy out. We got to pull that guy out. Pull guilds out. Oh, man, but they're over here, and now we're doing that. The only other thing is maybe... so there are times where the relationship line goes over wording. I think that should be no bueno. I honestly think that if you have a single strand here with lettering over it, that's super hard to read. They need to be very different color contrasts, or the opacity of the line in the back needs to be very, very subtle. Also, if we're going to keep the icons this size, I honestly think that this maybe should be a smaller font size. That or I honestly would just say make the pictures bigger. I love big pictures. I'm very visual, especially with any D&D or RPG style game, right? And I think that if, again, this is for critiquing with the reviews and stuff and whatnot, if the designers really had a good thought process, they should make it, which they do. They're very smart. They're doing a good job so far. But they should make it so that at minimum distance, right? Like, because it'll start here and then all of a sudden, but at minimum distance of it being connected when it starts its ring or it starts its own formatting, it should be spread apart the length of at least the words in the relationship. So that way you don't have any of this. That's hard. That sucks. Because then what you find yourself doing is you're like, cool, I got my layout. Looks all good, right? You know, we got all the complex stuff up here, all the basic stuff, and we're like, let's do relationships. All right, that one's not bad. That sucks right there. Wordage should always be above the picture, unfortunately, as much as I love pictures. But, boom, you got that. That's kind of sucky. But if you had it just so it was like that, when it formats itself, you'd be like, oh, cool, that's fine. Again, these are different colors, maybe just slightly more of a different color. I don't know if this gray is the gray that you pick that goes around the edge. That would make sense. So totally fine with that. That's just me. Hey, I got to pick better font colors for things and all that goodness, right? But let's just take a look at this. So this is something that I definitely built. I'm going to go back to the original one, and I'm going to just pull out stuff so we can just kind of see it. Because basically, this is what I wanted to do, is kind of play with all this stuff. So these are all things that I haven't added. They're creatures. They're just kind of a creature generalization tool, so I can just have enemies. And so I don't know if there's an intention. I'm trying to work in so that these guys definitely have a place to be like, oh, in this place you have this, this, and this. And then do you just put the relationship as current enemies in location? That's the kind of thing that I really think the locations are lacking. So if we look at this, I just made a very basic boom. And it does kind of look messy, you know, and until you really pull it out like this, excuse me, choking on my own spit. You know, we really gotta, you know, and you can't even see some of it when you do this. But until you really pull it out, does it not look like a hot mess? Which is fine. But if I'm gonna do this, I need it to stay like this. I don't need it to revert back to some form of a formatting that's really gonna undo all this stuff. So there needs to be like a save currently, save this. I'm fine if it tries to reformat it when you print it, but or try and download the photo, right? Because you can make a photo of this. Let me I'll bring that up over here. Boom. So you can make a photo of it, which is awesome. Kind of. Boom. You can hide the labels, right? So that you just see the pictures. Again, if you do this, you really need to see what's there. So these icons need to be a little bit bigger. You can hide the connections, which is fine. I wish there was an option to just hide the, and I mean, again, you could probably just click something else, but I wish there was an option to just hide the relationship text and keep this, so you know that there's a relationship here, you know there's a relationship here, but it would be nice to be like, oh, this is the chapel, since I can't see what that is, right, until I zoom in, oh, that's the chapel district, okay, that is City of Calc, awesome. So I know there's a relationship there, but it would be nice to either remove the wording so you can just see that there is a relationship, and then just when you click on it, it just brings it up. But just different things, right? All good stuffs for now. So let's show labels. We got all that goodness, but and then they have like their scroll. Ooh, so intense. And this is for like clearly when you have an entire world completely developed in here, which definitely is something I would love to do in the end. So I'm going to go back to sensitivity. That's not as insane as whatever we were scrolling at. But so far, I think they're doing a great job. And I still think this is the bread and butter, even though there's some issues. Again, you could change themes. You can minimize, maximize, so you can get to the side if you need to. I think if you're going to be working here, though, you don't need the rest of that. Down here, you can choose everything, right? You can choose and pick anything. What is this? This one is blue. So I'm going to just go in here and change this real quick because OCD. There we go. I want that blue or gray. So what you're seeing here is the actual entity editor, right? And it's for a location specific. Boom. So again, all these look the same. Quests, characters. So unless you're really paying attention and say, oh yeah, I'm changing location. I mean, usually the picture gives it away. So keep that in mind. But basically, all the editing happens in here. And so basically, what you're gonna do is you can manage connections. The metadata is coming. All the information for this area will be seen by those with access to the world editor, even after unlocking this location. So this is more of a private kind of detail area, and it says private details, right? So, but hidden details. So, and I really am excited for when they actually unlock the feature. It's definitely promised, but when they unlock the feature so that people can be clicked off and be like, oh, you now know this, but the rest of your party doesn't. You now know this, but the rest of your party doesn't. You two know this, but your leader doesn't. That kind of a deal. So I'm really excited for that. Save and close. We will play with notes just to see if it has changed a little bit. But yeah, so far, basically what we did is, so I'm making, with the new, another Kickstarter, I know, the Miniature Monsters 2 from Rocket Pig. I definitely was part of that, and they had a huge array of clockwork bad guys, right? Monsters and miniatures, clockwork style. So I'm definitely making a RPG or D&D style city that has got more of a steampunk technological side to it. Sorry. But can still function in the fantasy world. So it's going to be, if anybody plays League of Legends, it'd probably be like the equivalent of Piltover. Everything else is fantasy based, except for Piltover. They've got like some technology and stuff, right? So same concept, except this one's going to be ran by like a head council of engineers, but they're also technically crime syndicates. So it's also kind of got the vibe of Magic the Gathering's Guild Gates, right? And Guilds of Ravnica going on, except not as extensive. But the city this is going to take place in is right here, City of Calcus. And basically what we're going to do is I've already made basically the entire city structure. And so the first thing that I've noticed when doing it inside of this connections tab is it's amazing. You can flesh out an entire city's location as if it were kind of like a hex tile map or a relationship style map. Pristinely. You could do everything. I mean, if you look at this picture right here, and if you were going to say, I want this tower, this tower, this tower, this tower, I want that dome, I want these 3 bridges, and I want all of these different structures down here fleshed out with their own location, you could. And you can make an enormous city just inside of this. I did put some flavored text. You're only going to see it here. I have yet to be on the receiving end. I've only been in DM mode on this application, so I don't know what is seen by somebody who's playing, right? Well, let's take a look at some of the locations, right? If we're going to glaze over that, and we're going to just look at some of the connections that are here. So here we have Calculus Trading District. Its relationship is commerce. So it's relationship too. And if we look at this, let's just quickly edit. So Calculus Trading District is commerce of the city of Calculus, or to the city of Calculus. And if you looked at this prior, right, we're going to save that. We're going to go back into it. Look at it. If you looked at this prior, it just showed you the first relationship, which was the #1 issue that I had. I was like, well, what's the relationship to this? It just shows the first relationship that you put into it. Doesn't matter which way it went. They fixed that. So great. Good job on you guys. I love it. So now this location, the trading district, is commerce to the city of Calcus, which is awesome. Calcus just means year in Latin. So that's why it's named that. If it's a weird name, I apologize. But if you look at all these, now we have like the prestige prestige district. So we're gonna look at this. The relationship. See, Calculus prestige district is blank for the city of Calculus. So this should actually be over here. So we're gonna actually just cut this. We're gonna paste it over here, and we're gonna save it. Save connection. Boom. So this district is now luxury commerce to the main city, right? So if we look at this, this is the main hub. This is the city itself as a whole for when you have multiple cities, right? And so basically it's the hub for all of these different districts. Do you need it? Probably not. You could probably just have this grouping of items to themselves. I do it just because I'm used to programming, and to me, this main city is almost like a class with a bunch of the stuff like that you need inside of the class, right? And these are all the attributes to it. But no programming involved. Let's continue. So again, we have the sky docks. We have all these different areas, right? And then we have something down here. You're going to see like these weird guild locations. They don't have a relationship to it. So you can either come back in here, add a relationship to it. You can change different entities. You got to make sure that you're being careful when you're doing this, at least in this format, right? Because you're going to have to really see where you're putting stuff. So the guild hall doesn't really have a relationship with the city. It's just a guild hall, right? It has a relationship with the guild that uses it, right? It's the guild headquarters. And so you can see that here. We'll save again and quit. So if we look over here, where is it? She should be touching it. So City of Calculus is home to the Vestibulum Guild, right? And that's the relationship to the big city. It's the home of this guild hall, home of the guild. Excuse me. The guild hall is in. I gotta scroll out. I'm sorry. If we look at the guild hall, it is a crime syndicate in the Prestige District, and it is also home to the guild hall. So if you really look at it, you could probably get rid of this, right? Because it's intuitive to say that this is inside of Calculus, right? It's the Luxury Commerce District, which is then the home of the guild hall. So you could do as many ties as you want, and as many. So it's almost like video game AI, right? As many if-thens and variables that you have connecting to something, in theory, once all of the players start playing and seeing these locations and relationships, they will be able to understand how the world works. So keep that in mind. City of Calculus, right? All right, cool, we're here. So here you see all of the districts, right? What their relationships are, and then, but you would also, if a player landed here, say, oh, this is also the Vestibulum Guild. This is also the Vestibulum Guild home, right? This is also, where is the other guild? We have another one. Oh yeah, the Attilium Guild home, right? So they would know that just by clicking on the main city. As where if you wanted to be a little bit more mysterious and not forthcoming with info, you would delete this, and then you would, you know, if you deleted this, so let's just, so here you can edit relationship. We'll just do remove. I'm going to copy this because I want to put it back. But we'll remove connection. Yeah, let's do it. Boom, gone. So now if somebody comes to the main city, they're not going to know that the guild's here right now. They're going to have to explore a little bit. They might go to the slum district. No, there's nothing in the slum district. They might go over here to the trading district. No, nothing. And then, oh, they find information, and all of a sudden, this district is revealing that there's the crime syndicate, the Vestibulum Guild home. So, excuse me. That said, and we'll get into who this is up here. That said, if that is the intent, I need to know how the players see this, because I need to know how and when they're going to get this kind of information. So this information should technically only be really known after they've interacted with a character, right? After they've only interacted with somebody who is knowledgeable of the guild hall. So this connection should be here for futures, or future, like, release of information, but shouldn't be known yet. They should come here to the city, right? Wander around, finally end up at the Prestige District, talk to somebody, and then I should have a button that says release relationship to them. And then this should be, and then every relationship that is available, you should have a button that said release, 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 right? Click a tick mark or just unlock it, and then have it unlocked to a specific player in the party. And then it should just say, hey, bam, you now know that there's a crime syndicate for the Vestibulum Guild home, right? And that's a relationship. And then per player, because if only one person talks to the guy that knows this info, nobody else should know this. Nobody else should walk to the city, find this, go, oh, yes, this Prestige District, naturally there's a guild hall here, right? No. So that's something that I would love to see on the other end as a playtester or as somebody who is just playing the game in general, right? Not in DM mode. So, because as of right now, I see everything. I'm making everything. I can see everything. So everything is just kind of working magically in the favor of the DM. But I need to know what it looks like for other players because I don't want this information to just kind of be out there for no reason, right? The other thing is, and that's the thing that I mean by locations need more than just relationships. They need, I mean, even relationships with other people and things. There needs, I mean, that's a feature that could be used for characters and enemies and items, right? You don't know that something's there until I let you know that it's there. So, just fun fact. This is great though for mapping out the beginning of the campaign, right? This is good for the DM so that the DM can see everything. But there needs to be a way for the DM to say, hey, you now have access to this information. And I don't know if that's what metadata is going to do or if there's going to be metadata relationships. If there is, then there's no real point for other relationships because the DM should just do all the metadata relationships and then unlock it as they go. The other thing is how do you form... is there a way to form a new relationship on the spot other than just doing this? So the nice feature about this map, again, is, you know, let's just take, we want to reconnect this, right, to the guild. What did I have faced? So save. So you can just drag and drop connections here. This is good. But am I going to be on this page for the entire campaign? You know, and as a DM, not being able to play test it with a group right now, currently, especially with all the COVID BS, there's no real way for me to honestly say, yeah, this is where I'm going to spend most of my time. You know, for all I know, I might be here. I might be here. You know, just being like, oh, crap, got to make something. Oh, shoot, got to add locations. I mean, I'm assuming I'm going to be in connections most of the time because this is what's going to change the most for people is the relationships, but we'll see. So, but either way, now that we've moved on, that I wish there was a check mark to allow people be like, all right, you now know this here, and just update it live during a game. Now we have our first real interaction of a relationship between a location and something else, right? And we're going to go back to maximize because I need all of that space. And so this is the first time we have, right, we have our guild boss, basically. Boom, there she is. She's got her own little cool special rules. She's got her own little connections. She has different connections with the city than the guild does, so keep that in mind. And then she has her own connection with another guild boss, right? It kept it very simple for now. So if we look at her, she is the hated secret enemy, right? The top is always what your first entity is to something else. So keep that in mind. Top is always what A is to B, and bottom one is always what B is back to A. So she is hated secret. She is a, name of all Altilium is the hated secret enemy of Merida. And then he believes that they're just friendly rivals, but she secretly wants to kill him, right? She is the first consul engine seer to the city, so she's one of the head political factions of the city, right? So very different than the relationship here, just the guild home. So just keep that in mind. So these are all like little nuggets that the players can put stuff together, which is great. I wish that if there was a more in-depth relationship, you could maybe have like an exclamation point here and then have like a little side tab note here so that I can write a paragraph inside the relationship. Or, I know you guys are probably going to hate me for saying this, but if you just had arrows, right, that says it just points from here to the city, you know, and then you can have the arrow or icon change color, and then have a bottom icon change color, and then when they hover over it, just a little note tab popped up here, and you could write as much as you want for the relationship, you know, or you could have a quick relationship just like this with a little exclamation point and then have a note tab, right? Either way, it would also be nice though to change the going and receiving and going font colors. That might help with understanding who's going to what, who's going where. Just fun tidbit there. But if we look now, she's got she's the vestibulum engine seer for the guild hall, right? So she's the boss there, and this is the headquarters for the guild boss, right? So that's the first time we've really interacted with location and people, and so, or characters, I should say. And so I don't know where characters or party members would fall onto this map. So just keep that in mind. All these things are stationary, right? So we got character to character, but they're all NPCs, so they're going to always permanently stay that way until something drastically changes, like in an entire dungeon where you killed her, and it's like now he's happy, she's dead, you know, and blah, 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 or you X her out and just completely remove her. Or destroy all connections, right? And just have her floating up in the middle of nowhere. Or you could rework connections, be like undead sitting in the grave, right? And have a graveyard over here, and then they can somehow access her grave-wise. But the real challenge, and I'm going to just use this icon, right? It's an enemy, but we're going to just use it as an icon for an angel. And I have a quest, and I have a thought process for equipment as well. During this build is, so if this was a player from a party, do they just pop up here like this currently? Again, if you don't have any connections and you don't do connections during the campaign, this is going to revert back to this little sideline when you refresh the page, right? So just keep that in mind. Again, another reason why I think whenever we just log out of this, it should just save as is, right? Don't try and auto format for us. Just let us format how we want. We have our own crazy madness. It's good to have some of these styles for people who are new, not really organized, or just want to try something different. But I think for most of us, you know, we're all going to be super OCD and not want the lines to touch and try and like make all of our relationships better. But we're going to, again, pretend that this is a party member. I'm assuming a party member is going to just pop up on here as if they were a character. So you're going to have to constantly, as a DM, be like, all right, so you now know this person. We're going to just say she is an ally to you. You became friends, and you are hired work for her, right? Hired work. So we're going to save that connection, right? The thing that could get super tedious is trying to crawl. Oh, sorry, cancel. So that's another feature. You can create connection, inspect identity if you wanted to just by clicking and holding down. Sorry about the feature creep lacking, but that's a really cool feature. But keep that in mind. That's kind of a pain when you're trying to move stuff. But what you're going to be doing basically is you're going to, you know, do you place, you know, it would be really nice if you didn't have to worry about connections like this as far as locations go. Like, it's fine for a character like this, you know, character to character relationship made. But when the team's doing stuff, it would be nice to just place it into the actual location, and the location just has like an entity or something in it, and it just says current location, and you just drag and drop all the characters to where they're going, you know, bloop 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 bloop, and then you just have like a little icon up here on the side, so that you can, you know, if a miniature version of this, but if it was just like a bunch of party members around the corners of this, you could just pick them up, drag them out of that location, drop them into the new location. Otherwise, and still keep the relationship connection to the, you know, be like, visited here, loved it. Visited here, loved it. And then we can just have that connection and be like, just, you know, favorite place in the city. And that's, again, why I say that you should have like a little tab with like an exclamation point, because a lot of people want to write some pretty in-depth relationships. So relationships aren't just so simple as like cool hideout, you know. But we'll save this connection, right? So now it would be nice if this, you know, let's say they really loved it, right? We dragged and dropped them in there, you know, the whole party's in there, and then this person had to, for some reason, go all the way to religious district. So now if we did the drag and drop feature, you'd have a bunch of these relationships as we go across, right? And so maybe we don't need all of the relationship maps on here to do that. Maybe just a drag and drop with like exclamation points and saying relationship to this, relationship to that, relationship to this. I definitely love the visuals, but I think with locations, it can get kind of crazy. And again, this is all just some food for thoughts for this review. I think everything you guys have done so far is wonderful. I just think with the character to location kind of management, especially on the map, which is where I think this is where a lot of the DMs are going to be spending most of their time during the campaign, because it's just easier to click where you need to go and see what you need to do than wandering through each entity, right? I think that just some little bit more user functionality and a little less clutter would be super key with some of the relationships and some of like the activated icons and tabs. Because then you got to remember, like, so we have another entity here, right? This is the quest. We're going to just put, let's see, it's active for this. It's right. We're going to just go back to incomplete quest. And then, so I just want to show you how kind of out of hand this thing gets. And so again, you could be like, well, it's here, but it's also here. Or, you know, the thing that would be really nice, and this is, again, a programmer side of me, is if, for whatever reason, you know, so this is going to be inside of here, right? We're going to just say it's inside of calc, right? And we're going to just say quest location. We don't need to. I don't feel like we need to, right? We'll just have quest location, right? It's getting kind of messy now. Granted, you could change the colors of all these lines. Let's just do it. Let's just do it. Let's kill demon. Well, he's green, so the quest. I wonder why this location doesn't change color. Maybe all those are specifically gray for a reason. Maybe having this change color would be good. But let's just say, technically, Kill Demon is a quest that you get in the City of Calx, right? Now, where is it in the City of Calx, right? If you kind of do this district theme. Well, we're going to just say that it's technically in the Prestige District, right? Actually, let's do it over here. Let's make this as messy as we can. We're going to say that it's over here in the Attilium Guild, right? And we're going to just say quest location in Calx, right? Because that's where it is. No, not question. Oh my goodness, I can't type for anything today. So it's located there. This guild actually, which would mean so that if it's in here, right, and we're assuming that's where the guild. So if we were trying to simplify it, we kept this, right. The guild home is in Calx, right. Location in C. So that's interesting. whatever's happening right there. Quest look. Oh, maybe it's weird. It's actually taking this quest location and shoving it there. So that's a weird thing when you zoom out. Maybe when you zoom out, it actually helps you with quests, but then it's so tiny you can't see it. So we got to do something with the font and scaling in here. The other thing is, if we're going to get real technical, that is technically in here, which is in the Boulevard District, because that's where the guild hall... you know, and I'm being very obnoxious with all this, right? And my formatting is terrible. Quest, and I keep wanting to say question for some reason. Quest location. Oh my goodness. And my OCD with all the caps, titling. So here we go. Boom. So let's just kind of drag this over because it seems to be more over in this location, right? So we'll just drag it over here. There's not really a good place for it without moving all this stuff. And that's, again, where if this reverts, and we'll revert it at the end and see how annoying it can get, that you lose all of your structure and formatting on this map. But let's take a quick look now. So now, technically, the quest is inside the city. And it's so weird that it, like, pops quest, you know, like, I don't know why it's doing that, overwriting things, or where it's pulling that from. But quest locations in the city, which has the Boulevard District, which the quest location is still technically in the Boulevard District of the city, because it's a really, Kill the Demon is really inside the guild, right? The guild hall, which is inside of the Boulevard District, which will just say that this guy is the actual demon to be killed. So, is blank is demon to be killed, and then complete quest. Right? So, boom. Here we go. So, if you see now, this quest has numerous relationships, but redundant, but at the same time, it's not redundant. Because if you want the player to know, this wouldn't be something hidden, right? Or it would, or all these would be hidden until, again, an appropriate time. All right, we have a quest in Calculus to kill the demon. Boom. So you now know that Kill Demon, bloop, is an active quest inside Calcs. You start exploring Calcs, right? And you come over here to Boulevard District, and then, oh, you talk to somebody like, yeah, Kill the Demon quest, and then something is here, so you know that you're in the right spot. Or within this, you know, at a certain time, once you've reached Calcs, or once you've explored this, or talk to somebody else here, you would know that it's in the Boulevard District. This would become available at some point, or this would become available at some point. Or once you got here, you know that this quest, boom, is active here. You found out some information in the guild hall that this guy is really the guy you got to kill. Now this is active. So these aren't useless relationships because you need to know them at appropriate times, right? The whole thing about this Atlas Worlds is going to be a whole system of turning on and off, making relationships, turning on and off relationships, hiding data, secretly giving data, moving data, reworking relationships, you know, and it's like, so now that this is completed, right, you can go here and change this and say completed, but then do you keep this up, or can I just take this, right, remove all of the relationships and just drag and drop and say completed, or is there a tab that should be here inside of add connections or manage connections and just have Kill Demon, complete, complete, and then all of the connections go gray or inactive, so you can keep them, or do they stay there and they just kind of become hidden, so you don't have to view it now. It's only relevant if somebody honestly goes and says question about that and then activates it, right, or something like that. But that's just kind of the management, because now if you look at it, we have a very basic campaign. I would say like it's like a campaign within a city, right? And you got those people that make elaborate worlds, and this is going to be what those people want. They want to make these elaborate worlds where people can go anywhere, right? We're not talking about Skyrim style. I made you an entire world. I want to go anywhere in your world, and you have stuff ready for me, ready to go. And that's what a DM wants. He doesn't have to prepare this anymore. He could just be like, oh, hey, here's all the stuff. I got all my minis. I got all of my players. I got the stats. We got this. Here they go. They have all their encounters in here. They have all of the stuff that they need in here, right? And they're going to just kind of bounce around all these different icons based on what they want. Unless somebody's really kind of an a-hole and they just kind of go, yeah, I'm going to go in the district that's between the underworld and the slums. And you're like, great, I'll just create one. Here you go. And then you can make more relationships. But this is the thing that really needs to be hashed out as far as organization. It is wonderful. Again, let me tell you guys at Atlas Worlds, for the Atlas World team, you guys are doing amazing stuff right now. Amazing stuff. I really like where you're going. I really like where your head's at. I can see that you're trying to make a basic video game manager for a hard-copied world version of an RPG, right? And that is amazing because all this stuff is the hard stuff for a DM, right? This is what? This is a notebook page. That's a notebook page. This says reference over to this notebook page. Shoot, I got to go get a different notebook because I have all the stuff for this over here. Great. I don't have any encounters ready for this. So let me just randomly make something that's not super good. There's a relationship in here. I just honestly think that with the relationships, you got to remember that there's multiple relationships. You got to remember that they're going to constantly be able to be turned on and off. And so you need to be able to do that in this. You need to be able to turn on and off relationships at will, right? With just clicks. Like, make all these relationships. It's good for a DM to see this in the back, right? This is the back-end version for a DM. But even this, you know, is really, really overwhelming at times if you get really over the top. And so we're going to need ways to just be like, yeah, you know that now. You don't know that now. You forgot that. Oh, you got a concussion. You forgot that weapon. That weapon's invisible. It's no longer on the map for anybody else, but it's just sitting here, right? It's just sitting here. And if you manage to, I can make it so that if you manage to talk to a guy in here, you have the weapon, right? So that's the big feature that I'm missing for this is how do I manage these relationships much more easily than what is current, you know, and if you have to be like this one, you know, active or something like that. And you also got to remember there's so much more detail than just like relationship city, you know, relationship commerce, relationship friend, you know, you got to remember like some relationships are super complex. I know that sounds really lame, but some relationships are really complex. Like maybe somebody has multiple styles of relationship. Maybe this character and this character have multiple relationships. You know, and so do you have numerous, in the current state of this, can I have multiple relationship strings here? You know, can I have friend? Can I have lover? Can I have rival? Or can I just have a text box that says your friend, lover, rival, and then just kind of like delete it? Or can I have ticks, you know, and be like, this person is, and just have a bunch of like general basic ones, friend, you know, lover, rival, you know, whatever, and then just click all of that apply, and then it just auto-generates kind of some basic ones, and then have the ability to add like a text field for a complicated one, but stuff, food for thought. The other features on here, I'm sorry, we totally went into like ideas and less into the features, but you can search for things here. So you could type in, just type in angel. See if it comes up. So you can find whatever you want. That is a good thing, especially with all this crazy chaos going on in here. This is a huge keep. Don't get rid of this ever. Ever, ever, ever. The other thing that I would like to say to the Atlas team is great job again. Some weird little bugs in here with like what it's displaying. So like right there, it just kind of displays something different. I don't know, because if you zoom in, it turns back. But I think there's a lot of drag and drop features you could put in here. I think there's a lot of like locations could be something that you could drag. Like it would be nice to have this weapon, no relationship at all to anything, and just have it boom, it's in the guild hall, right? Without having like it hover over, because now you're playing, I need the guild hall. All right, cool, let's move stuff out of the way. You know, if you just dragged it in here and then had like a little tab on the side of just like what's in there. Granted, that's something else that could get crazy out of hand, right? You can have like tabs go all the way around. But just some things that I really think that would make this piece great. Again, I really need to see what it looks like on the player side, because as of right now, I'd be making a campaign that everybody could literally see everything I'm doing, and there's no point to it, all right? There's no hidden relationships. But I definitely think quests, definitely think items and characters can be fine, but I definitely think quests, and I definitely think locations need a rework, or maybe quests and items. You know, so like, and I'll just tell you, it would really suck to have to do this. This item is, we'll just put reward for this. You know, we'll let it generate. So this is a reward for this quest when it's completed, right? I mean, they're going to have to type that in all the way. But in quest, could there be a relationship called reward? And then when you tick complete, rewards pop up. And then like the players can be like, I take this. And then it auto-generates item taken by blah, blah, blah. And then new relationship goes here on the player side that says took reward, you know, and now it's in them. So instead of having this, you know, we could just have, let's see. Sorry. There it is. So we're going to remove this. You don't need this framework is what I'm trying to say, is I can just make a sword, you know, pop it in here as a reward, and then when the quest is completed, sorry, I'm gonna move stuff. When the quest is completed, players can see the reward inside the quest entity, right? You know, and if you need to keep this for entity for like subscription and purchasing purposes, totally get it. But if a player sees this, they'll be like, I'll take it. And then it just jumps into them. And then they now have like their own little tab swords and items and stuff like that. Or, you know, like quest, another good quest would be is keep all these relationships here for quest and then just make it so I can drop this in here. So now when you have, and that would be good because, again, if you did a little exclamation or tab here, you could have exclamation for relationships. You can have like a little question mark for quest, right? And then you could be like, all right, so this guy's got a quest, it's got a relationship, and it's got something else. We'll just say, you know, an interest or something, and that's just like a different little icon here. And every time you hovered over it, it would be a different form of the relationship to this person, you know? But again, I know that gets very like nitpicky and micromanaging, but like in current state, this is very useful because it's going to save everything for you, and I still use it. But it will also be very time-consuming during play process. You know, this would be, again, I want something that I can do very quick in-game. This would still be something that I would be like notes on paper and then fix at the end for them to figure it out. Unless it was like, oh, you really need to know this guy. Let me click in your relationship to them because he's got other relationships that you will need to see. You know, it would just be much better to have something that you're just like, click, you know that guy. You secretly have always known that guy, but now you actually know that guy because I've allowed it. And now you've talked with him. Now you know A, B, and C facts, but you don't know X, Y, Z facts. You know, you complete a quest. Now you know Z facts. Oh, you completed another quest for him. Now you know E facts, all that stuff, right? And then just slowly unlock relationships. But either way, great job, guys. I know this video has gone on so long. So I'm going to end it here. We're going to go over next week some more features, some more updates that they've done. I really want to get into more of the character creation. So what we're going to do next time is if we go in here, we're going to go into Angel. What I'm really going to do is we're going to hit down some of the basics for creating a character, right, and editing a character, how to get them into the correct world. And then we're going to go into notes because they did make it so that you can save notes now. And I really want to take it to the max and try and understand the formatting templates and how we can really get some hashed out juice in each character and how it will look back on this, we'll save and quit, back on this connections page. Either way, Atlas Worlds team, great job. Keep it up. Looking forward for more. I know we are so demanding on Discord. We are so demanding. But I think what you have here will absolutely revolutionize all tabletop games, not just RPGs, especially as you feature creep, complete feature creeps as they come out of the woodwork. But awesome, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Remember to click like and subscribe. I know I should have said that in the beginning. My YouTube etiquette is terrible. But stay tuned. Let's really dive down into this Atlas Worlds. I'm also going to be start posting other things for some 3D printing, some painting, and also I would really love to dive into some more of Blood Bowl and other games. We want to really rethink some good rules and stuff. And so I've been making a futuristic, aka 40K version of Blood Bowl. And so I'd really like some feedback on that and see what people think as we play test and keep going through the motions of just rethinking game logic. Thanks for listening. Have a good one.